Burg, South Carolina. I came up here when I was 2 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and basically I've been here ever since.
For real?
Yeah, but what happened was when I was around about 14, my grandfather wanted to send me to college down there.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down there and I happened to be standing on the corner. White girl walked by. I just turned around and looked at her. I heard something say, "You know you can't be from here, nigga." And I ain't turned around. So he said it again. I still didn't turn around. Said it the third time, I finally turned around. He said, "Well, if you from down here, yeah, I know you ain't from down here, because if you wasn't, you wouldn't turn around and look at no white girl." I told my grandfather, "See ya. I'm going back up north." Now, I've seen some things in my life, the time I used to go back and forth to South Carolina just to visit,
Right.
but I could have lived there.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandfather took everything and he paid for my college, but I knew damn well that I would not have made it.
Now let me ask you a question, Mr. Bob. Was there any like clan people down there and skinheads and shit?
They were, but my family down there that were down there, they were born and raised there, they stayed in line. I'm going to give you a good example. My grandmother died,
Mm-hmm.
so we went down to South Carolina, okay? Took the Greyhound bus down, and our clothes didn't get there, suitcases. So my mother's going to take us into town to get some new clothes for the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the guy that lived there in South Carolina, one of my cousins and whatever, takes us into town, and he stops at the red light, right?
Right.
And he's going to make a right turn. The light changed 9 times,
Mm.
and he would not make that turn. You know why he didn't make that turn? There was a white lady standing on the corner talking on her car with her car door open, and that nigga would not go around that white woman until she got in her car and left.
Why, he was scared or some shit?
He evidently had to be scared. He had to be. You know, I don't think there's any difference between, well, there's a difference, but 1922 and 2022.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is, okay, we can ride buses, we can buy houses, we can go here, we can go there, but nothing much has changed as far as attitudes.
Facts.
They just do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling somebody yesterday, I have all the respect in the world for a southern redneck. And they said, why? I said, because he's going to tell you, I don't like you, your mama, your daddy, or nobody in your family.
Mm-hmm.
You have to respect that because you know where he's coming from. But you have your other so-called folks up north or this or that or whatever, talking about some of my best friends and this and that, and then they sit down at their dinner table and they call you a whole bunch of niggas. Look what them niggas do. Look what they doing out there robbing, they stealing, they this, they that, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then they walk around and they smile at you every day. This is why I say I have the respect for a southern white redneck.
Right.
Because he going to tell you
Mm-hmm.
whether you like it or not. You know where you stand and you don't have to wonder. You don't have to want anything else.
Right.
I went in the military in 1964, which was good for a lot of folks. Because what the military tried to do, if you enlisted down south, they tried to send you up north, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
If you were up north, they tried to send you down south, station you in different
Right.
places once
Right.
once you got basic training.
Right.
And I saw the reasoning behind that was so that you could understand the one that have never been exposed to racism,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to understand to see what it's really about. Became one of my best friends when I got stationed in Riverside, California, March Air Force Base. Was a white guy from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Bob, I never thought that things were as bad as they are for you guys. He said, I would love to take you home, but I can't. Because if I took you home, I don't know whether you get lynched and I get an ass whipping or whatever, but I can't take you home.
When you mention the word "you guys," I would assume you're using the terminology for us black folks.
Well, see, you guys, when I was stationed in California, I started using that myself sometime because in California, that's what they used to say, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing to do with race,
Okay.
nothing else. And this guy wound up living in California. He just didn't go back home.
Right.
And he started talking that you guys stuff. Once we became tight, it took months and months before we became tight and really could talk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's when he told me about not taking him home and you guys and da-da-da. And he didn't mean anything by it. I didn't take about anything by it because he had been in California for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they say out there back in the 60s, you guys. Okay. I had another white guy that was from California. He met me and we became buddies. And he took me home right away with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something I experienced with his family that I never experienced before, because mom and daddy would bust you side your head if you said the wrong thing, wrong words out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
When he first took me home, he's sitting at his dinner table and they calling each other motherfucker, son of a bitch, kiss my ass, and this and that. And I'm sitting there like, what the shit is this?
Mm.
But that's the way they used to treat each other. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, from Texas, where I was doing my basic training, I experienced a lot of racism in the bus stations, in the airport. And I wasn't used to this because I'm saying, like they said, I'm from up north.
Right.
Okay? But that's why I say racism has never died.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another form of doing business, another way of doing things. Okay? Like I said, we can ride buses, we can buy houses, we can buy cars, we can go here, but there is still racism. When I bought a house, back in my first house, was 1987. On my deed, because they tried to clear all the stuff off, it was on there. You cannot sell your house to a nigga.
Wow, are you serious, man?
Mm-hmm. And
Wow.
there's still some today that they on those deeds, but people don't know it because they try to clean all of it up and get it out.
Right.
But there is still some today that still have that in those deeds.
Mm-hmm.
And when it shows up, they strike it out.
Right.
Now, like I said, my first house was in Columbia,
Mm-hmm.
Columbia, Maryland. I married a Caucasian at that time. She sold real estate, she's working for the guy that sold a lot of real estate in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
We had this house all picked out and this